All right. Thank you very much. Damien Rufus in the house today. Um, Really excited to have this conversation with you today, Damien. We've been looking forward to this. Damien's the founder at the Spark Accelerator and the Hustle Camp. Um, Damien's been doing a lot of cool stuff. I'm gonna let Damien explain a little bit of this, but it's a legacy project for Damien. He's extremely passionate about that. We're gonna touch up on, and then the Spark Accelerator. A growth focused business consultancy that Damien's been running, doing phenomenal job there for himself and the people that he's been coaching. We've been working with a lot of them, and phenomenal results are coming out. Over 17-year experience in the business growth strategy and marketing automation. He's the OG, the guru, and now our host, and soon to be your friend because he's already mine here at the RepStack podcast. Welcome to the show, Damien. How are you today? And
I'm
what's
doing
going
well.
on?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. I'm glad we could finally get together and do this a podcast. When I saw you guys at the high level event with your amazing booth and looking amazing in those sweatshirts, I was like, man, we got to get this book right now. So I had to book it on the spot, make sure we locked this in.
Yeah, I love it. I think half the battle is just making time for each other, like-minded people. And that's why I think I'm such a big fan of coaching programs and things like that. But before we get into that, I want to ask you this question. Who is Damien? Can you give us a brief summary of where you started out and how did you end up running a mastermind, I think, and then now Hustle Camp that you just are so passionate about right now. So what's the evolution story there? Give
Sure.
us a 5 second summary of the last 20 years.
All right, 5 seconds. I was a
Just
teacher,
kidding.
not making any money. I had to do something in the summer. I found marketing automation, and 18 years later, here we are.
Wow,
that's how,
man.
that's
Now
how it
that's a marketer right there, guys. That's our
that's how
job,
it
right? To summarize complex things.
Yeah, for
And you
sure.
just did a phenomenal job there, man. I'd love to find out a little bit about your teaching gig. What
Sure.
was that like? What were you doing? Who were you teaching and how long?
I was teaching sixth graders in an elementary school. I went to school to actually my degrees in communication and nonprofit leadership management with a education degree as well. But essentially, I became a teacher because my daughter was going to school. I wanted to be closer to her at the time. She's 22 now, one of my kids. I wanted to be where she was at. So I went to a job fair, or actually, I think we are enrolling her in school or something and went to the school and they were looking for teachers and it was just the right time. So I said, yeah, I'll teach sixth grade. And so I hopped in the first year. It was at a charter school. They run a little different than public schools. It's like a choice type of school that you can send your kids to. It was my first experience teaching. And so I was in a classroom with fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth graders. And I had 48 kids in my classroom. Now, people are like, wait a minute, hold on a second. Yes, all day, every day, we had 48 kids. I had by myself in my classroom, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth graders, and taught them everything except the specials like art, PE, and those kinds of things. So it includes the classroom. After I taught there for 2 years, and then I went to this job fair for another school, and essentially I walked in with shorts and a t-shirt, just going in in the summer for some information. And the superintendent of the school district, he's, hey, I want you to talk to some of the principals. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just here to get some information. And so I walk in the back, all the principals are in the room, and he's, hey, we're not letting you leave until you choose a school that you want to work for. And I was like, oh man, no interview, that kind of thing. Literally in shorts and a t-shirt. I think I had on some flip flops back then, but I chose one of the schools. It was the traditional school. Then I had 22 kids in my classroom, and it was quite a
Mm.
difference. It was quite the difference. Yeah. So that's
Wow.
my story of teaching.
Wow, wow. And that's about 16 years ago. So I was
Yep.
just doing the math behind the scenes there. And now, so tell me a little bit about your coaching group, the Spark Accelerator. What are you guys up to
Sure.
over there and how did that came about?
So the Spark Accelerator came out of people get into these platforms, they buy these funnels. I've been behind some of the biggest product launches in internet marketing history, doing the automation and the guy behind the scenes. And I would see the struggle that people had when they come into a new software or buy a course or get sold the story that this online you can make this money online by you're only one funnel away. We've all heard that, right? These people will buy the software, get in the software, not know how to use the software. And at the time, we were install or giving people the 5 marketing campaigns I think every small business should have. So we give it to them, say, hey, you know what? Thank you. Have a great day. And not go on like a retainer type of scenario with them. We just set them up, get them the now workflows and automations, and then say, hey, good luck in your business. But what I found out was people go to conferences and they get super excited and they're raw hype when they leave. But then you see them the next year at the conference and it's, hey man, how's it going? Did you get to implement that stuff? Oh man, I'm still working on it. I'm almost there. I'm trying to get it, trying to put it together. And it's, man, I hate that feeling. And again, I've been around for a long time, right? So this is gray in my beard. And going to these conferences, I've seen people 6 years later still in the same spot that they were at the first time
Mm,
I'm right. I decided to put the Spark Accelerator together. It's, hey, listen, you're going to come here. We're going to build this stuff together while you're here. And then when you leave, everything is done. So there's no excuse for you not to push traffic to your offer, get emails, whatever it is that we set out to do for you. We're going to get together for 2 days, build all the stuff out together. And when you leave, it's done. And so that's been interesting because I run that workshop here in Phoenix a few times and I felt good about what we were doing, right? Hey, we're finally getting people, they're finally getting it done and they're ready. We all know people. They may be ready when they leave, but when they get home, there's still questions and what do I do now? What I decided to do is morph it into now it's a 6 month cohort, right? You still get the 2 day with us, but now you get all the extra support in the back as well for 6 months. After that, you can come back in again if you like, alumni, but we make sure that we now offer you support over the 6 months after you come to the Spark Accelerator.
that's awesome, man. That's a great
Mhm.
program, and there's a huge need for that because, yeah, you're absolutely right. That's same thing over and over again. You and I, we both frequent a lot of these events, and we see this all happening over and over again. So, and some great people who have some great ideas.
Sure.
I want to get into my three more questions
Sure.
segment here with you, Damien. I want to ask you, so that's it's really relevant here since you've got your coaching hat on. What's
Mhm.
like top few mistakes some of us are making? Like we have this great bright idea and we're trying to like attempt scale. And what's the first few one, two, three things that we have to be cognizant of so that we can get past those initial 90 or 6 months and get to some sort of revenues and have some sort of proof of concept as quickly as possible?
Sure, you got to stay focused, right? What happens quickly when you get into these spaces and get into these rooms with people who are like minded, it's easy for us as entrepreneurs to say, oh man, I really like his business over there. Maybe I need to do a little bit of that. Or, oh, I like her business over there. Maybe I need to do that. I would tell you, put the headphones on, bring the laptop up, and just stay focus, get to work. There'll always be time for you to go, especially with entrepreneurs. You'll build an amazing product and amazing business, and then you're like, oh, okay, let me try this thing over here. Because that's what we do. But just stay focused. That would be one. Two, it's never about what you know, it's about who 100%. So in the times where you do get stuck, don't try to go searching for more to learn more information to get unstuck. Just go find the person who can help you get unstuck. I think a lot of times we put a lot of time and energy into stuff that doesn't matter. And for me, I like picking up the phone. Hey, man, I have a problem with this particular thing. Can you help me? Using your network to get out of those situations. And lastly, I would say it's not a race. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon, right? You don't have to get it right in the first week, the first month, the first two
Mhm.
months, first 90 days. You can take your time to make it what you don't have to be perfect. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So that's what I would say. Those are the three things I
So
think.
so stay focused, stay in your lane,
Mhm.
and use your network.
Yep.
And then finally, what was the last bit I think that was the best part.
Yeah, I would say it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? I take that from
Yeah,
Nipsey Hussle.
yeah.
That's one of my favorite rappers.
Evolution, not revolution. I
Exactly. Like I love
So
that.
you gotta stay the course right there. So
Mhm,
I love it, right? Though, and I love my buddy, and I met this friend. He's extremely successful in his career that he does, but he's
mhm.
got these 10 other things that he's got going on at the same
For
time,
sure, for
and none
sure.
of them are delivering any results. In fact, they're taking away all this amazing money that he's making at his job, and it's not
Mhm,
mounting to much. Whereas I know that if he concentrated his firepower and just stayed in his lane and
mhm.
stayed the course, he's gonna get there, right?
Yeah,
But I think early on, avoid those pit holes, guys, and I think you'll be good to go. Here's my second
absolutely.
question, Damien. Um, so I know you've done a lot of work on the marketing side, and you're big on marketing automations.
Mhm.
What like how do you decide which automation trend to follow? There's so much going on right now. People building out, like getting rid of people in marketing, automating the hell out of processes. Like, how are you picking your trends?
Sure. So I had a basketball coach once. I'll tell the story real quick. So in high school, I was really good at basketball. I walk into the gym in the summer as a freshman. And it was during the time, and I'm gonna age myself here, where there's like and one mixtape where the guys were doing the behind the back passes and no look passes and doing all sort of stuff. So I get into the gym with the new coach and I'm cooking people. No look, oh, making all the passes and stuff. And so the coach brings me to the side. It's our first experience. I'm trying to show him, like, hey, man, I'm really good at this thing. He pulls me to the side and he puts me in the gym. Usually they have hoops on the side and then they have the main court, right? So he brings
Yeah.
me to one of those hoops on the side. And he's, here's the basketball. What I want you to do is take 10 shots from the first block, move to the second line, third line, fourth line, free throw, and then work your way around and then come all the way back till you hit 10 shots on each one in a row. If you miss, start over from the beginning. I was like,
Mhm.
what are you talking about, man? Like, I'm I'm the best guy out here right now. You know what I mean? And he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
go over there and do that. And man, I was over there pretty much the whole afternoon, 2.5 hours. I think I was over there. I kept missing the free throws. So frustrating. But I finally worked my way around and it was at the end of the practice. And I'm like, yo, coach, what was that about, man? Like, I thought I was doing great. And he's like,
Mhm.
listen, it's cool to do all that stuff and it's flashy and all that stuff. But for me, you can't make your first shot until you make your first shot. Like you got to stick to the basics, the fundamentals, right? Right now, we're seeing a lot of flash. There's new AI technology. I love it, by the way. I'm knee deep in this AI stuff. But at the core of things, you still gotta have the fundamental basis there. If you don't have the fundamentals, then none of this other flashy stuff matters, right? You can sell a AI voice agent to take your calls, but if you don't have some automation in the back to nurture that person that comes in from the calls, maybe it's a booked appointment or whatever. If you don't have that set up, then it doesn't matter that you're booking appointments. So for me, it's you gotta make sure you got the basics and the fundamentals done.
Hmm. Love it, love it. So follow the fundamentals and the basics, and you'll have your answers. And to me, how I'm looking at this thing is that empowering the employees, exactly what you talked about, right? If this AI bot's gonna be the sales agent,
Mhm.
there's still eventually going to be a handoff there. How strong is your sales process? How strong is
Exactly.
your sales team? Are they equipped? Are they getting enhanced by all this AI, or are they getting depleted by it? So
Yeah.
I feel that the human should be center point, and then if the AI is supporting our existing workforces, they should be 10xing, 20xing their performances. But anyways, that's we can just
Yeah, I
keep.
agree. I agree. 100%.
All right.
Yeah.
How does your back to basics approach work with today's automation tools? I know you just talked about that a little bit, but can you just explain a little bit more in how would you tie that into today's automations? Because they're like highly AI driven right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think eventually I have this whole theory on AI and how it's going to work out in our society, especially in our space with the people work. That stuff's going to go away. But I think what I've always done is when I was at Keep, or I'm still a certified partner there, but when I was introduced to Keep, I had certain workflows that I needed that everybody
Mm,
could use. At high level, I have snapshots that a snapshot, like I don't have 10,000 snapshots. Like I have a snapshot that I think
mm,
work in most everyone's companies or small business. I'll say that. So starting with that, back to basic, the fundamentals, I give those to you. Here you go. You need these. Let's now build on top of that and enhance or optimize those workflows. For example, I have a SaaS with residential cleaning and residential and commercial cleaning companies. We have about 50 or so companies in there on our called Tidy Track. And so for them, it's listen, we know you need to send emails, text messages. We got you set up on that. We know you need a CRM to have a place for your customers. We got that. We know that you hire people. So we want to give you a hiring funnel so people can you can automate that process and only talk to the people just like sales. Only talk to the people when they're ready to talk to you, right? We weed
mm,
the people out that shouldn't be there
mm,
through our workflows. But now let's build on top of that, right? Let's have a AI agent now maybe make an initial phone call to get more information from that person to make sure
mm,
they're more qualified to cut out that first step. Man, do I need to interview them or not? Let's put that AI agent in there. So I think once I give them the basics, 'cause everybody needs the basics, the fundamentals. Now we can start adding on top all these cool and new and exciting technologies. And the best part about it is the technology that's out there right now is pretty good,
mm.
and it's the worst that this technology will ever be, which is crazy because it's pretty good right now. It's not super fantastic, like where I can't tell that this isn't a non-human, but we're gonna get there pretty quickly.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a great way of explaining it, how you can be like really simple
Hmm.
and be doing amazing work. Like you just explained, one of the niches that you're working in, such a great example. You start out with a basic product, the stuff that
Hmm.
your industry or niche is gonna need. Just build that really, and then
Hmm.
think about doing other things, right? If you can't even do that, if you can't take the first shot,
Yeah,
just like
right.
Damien said, you're not ready for anything else. So
You're not
let's,
ready. You're not
all
ready.
right,
Yeah, man. One of the
fantastic.
things that I do see in these groups that we're in, these because automation is cool, and the tools that we have to build these automations are cool. So you see these images of these massive workflows that have 10,000 actions and all this other stuff. Man, that listen, that's cool. Show it to people. But my simple workflow will outwork that one 10 times harder. And people will understand. The people that you're selling it to will understand. I think one thing I took from last week at the event was simplicity is the key.
Hmm.
Simplicity is the key. So I'll leave that. I'll leave that one. I'll leave that one there.
Yeah, this is beautiful. And I think as a marketer, myself being a 15-year marketing agency owner, I've seen realize it more and more. The more I take out from a message, the better it connects. Like, I
Right.
don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but the
Exactly.
simpler I can make it, the less
Yeah.
I can have on a backdrop or a standee. It just seems to do better every time. And we
Yeah.
can't seem to get that. So let's go to the rapid fire round,
Cool.
Damien. I want to give you some verbs and I want to hear your feedback about them.
Okay.
So, number one, automation essentials.
I would say right now, go high level.
Fantastic. I think there's simplicity at its best. One
Yep.
tool you're going to
Mhm.
automate, go with a go high level right now.
Yep.
All right. And I know this is a big one, but I want to hear your thoughts on this. Blueprint for success.
Simplicity. We just said it, right? Simplicity.
Love it. Love it. Love it. And here's my last one for you. Breaking plateaus. Now, this one's an exciting one because I'm personally interested in this one. I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Sure. So for me, it's do the work, right? A lot of people, and I'll spend a little bit, a lot of people want the fame, the fortune, the money, and all that stuff, but they don't want to do the work, right? Do the
Hmm.
work and you'll break through those plateaus. Every little step matters, right? So you can't skip the steps, right? And I keep breaking it down to this simplistic kind of thing, but people, oh man, I'm gonna take a shortcut here to get to there. It's a tortoise and a hare story all day, every day. I'm just slow and steady so I can win the race.
I love it. I love it. Damien, before you go, I just quickly want you to tell me a little bit about Hustle Camp. I know you're about to
Oh, for
launch a
sure.
new project now. You're really excited about this. Just want
Yep.
to quickly hear, like, first at the RevStack podcast, like, what's this all about?
Cool. So Hustle Camp is my Mr. Holland's opus. So that's like it's like my legacy project, something that I'm super passionate about. You see all these things online, and sometimes people go there to they want to start a side hustle or make some extra money on the side. And they'll see a video or they'll read an article or buy a course that's promising them the moon. And when they get in there, it's not all what they intended it to be, or they spend hours and hours on YouTube watching videos trying to figure things out. So what I wanted to do is go on YouTube or go with these places these people are talking where you can make this money and do the whole thing for you. There's a show on TV called Dirty Jobs. This guy Mike, he goes and was a plumber or gets dirty with the people. So what I wanted to do is be the Mike, Dirty Jobs Mike in the side hustle space. So I'm gonna watch those videos. I'm going to do what they're teaching from start to finish, from A to Z. I'm going to do the whole process and then let you know, is it what they say it is? That way you don't waste your time, money, resources in doing that. And then if I have to build something out, let's say it's, I don't know, like a dog walking business or something, that's one of our videos. I'm gonna build out a whole dog walking business with the automation, the websites, the whole thing. And then if you're part of our community, I'm gonna give you the whole thing. You're going to get the whole, you're going to get all the emails I wrote, all the text messages I wrote, the website I built. You're going to get it all, right? Just for being part of our community. And check this out. You would think, oh man, this thing's going to be super expensive. You're going to get this for $19 a month, just 19 bucks, a
Hmm.
whole business for 19 bucks. So this is me
I love it,
giving back my knowledge. We have calls in a community and for you to ask questions and all that stuff. We're gonna stop this madness of these thumbnails that have these big numbers that people are putting time and energy into, and then
man.
coming out in the end with zero.
Yeah, I remember back in school, me and my buddies, we decided to invest in some internet was just up and coming. We're
Yeah,
like, we gonna make this money, and I don't know what it was. One of our buddies is like, okay, let's put up the credit card, let's do it. Three of
yeah,
us were in. We're like, all right, boom, let's turn it on. We're gonna be millionaires tomorrow, right? Like, trust me, I've been there, done that. Thanks for doing this. I think this is gonna
yeah.
be a great hit. You bring the Damien Rufus that I bring, yeah, that I know that
Mhm.
brings the passion to every project that takes on. I think this is a no-brainer for so many of us, and it's something that's needed out there, man. I love the analogy you gave about the dirty jobs because I've seen
Yeah,
that show.
yeah,
So
yeah. For sure, for
you've
sure.
been saving a
Oh,
lot of lives, my friend.
for
Thanks for
sure.
doing
In
it,
the trenches.
Damien.
Yeah,
Thanks for being on the show. It was a blast.
absolutely.
I had a
Thanks
great
for
time
having me.
talking to you, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Bye bye.